Justice League is the movie my 6-year-old self was dying for. Look at that poor dumb bastard. He has no idea what he's in for. Well, this movie's not as big of a disaster of epic proportions as I expected it would be, based on just how much negativity they had going into it. The script was being changed on the fly during production due to Batman v Superman being a total flop critically. Zack Snyder had to step down during post-production due to a family tragedy. Joss Whedon had to come in and do massive reshoots. So the fact that we even got a competent movie at all out of that giant mess is enough to give this movie an A+ for effort, and probably a D+ in all other major categories. But let's just break this down. A year after Superman's death, Batman has been investigating Lex Luthor's notes and deduces that a CGI bad guy is going to come and wreck shop and lead a bunch of parademons to Earth and cause a massive invasion. So along with Wonder Woman, they decide to recruit a Justice League besides Green Lantern because it still stings. On top of dealing with the world-ending plot of CGI bad guy Steppenwolf, the team bickering together and dealing with their own interpersonal conflicts, they also have to deal with the resurrection of Superman, what that might mean, and can they get him on his side in time to stop Steppenwolf. I'm going to start with the positives because the negatives are really going to bum me out. The cast is really great. Ben Affleck is still a solid Batman, even though he clearly does not want to be there. Also, he reveals his secret identity to every person he sees. That's like the most unlike Batman thing to do. I mean, they do it in literally all the movies, so I guess I shouldn't give this movie too much garbage about it. He doesn't have a lot of great action in this movie, not on par with the warehouse scene in Batman v Superman. Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman as much as Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man and Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. She's the bright beacon of hope in this movie, but she's still dealing with the fallout of losing Chris Pine in her own solo movie that we got this summer. She's endearing and warm, but she's still fierce and believable in the action scenes. Ray Fisher and Jason Momoa were good as Cyborg and Aquaman respectively. I was more worried about Ray Fisher because he hasn't done a lot of movies. I think Batman v Superman was his first movie. I like what they did with Cyborg. He's really brooding, but you can see the humanity cracked through the man versus machine, the RoboCop arc. Aquaman didn't get any development. All his development comes out in one scene that's played off as a joke. Also, the movie makes it seem like he's been to Atlantis, but then it doesn't. It contradicts it almost immediately. The movie also wastes his power set. Like, he controls water and talks to the ocean to talk to fish, but he only does one cool thing with water. He doesn't summon a giant whale to sit on Steppenwolf's face or a Sharknado to wipe out parademons. Nothing awesome. The fights in the movie are all on land, so either right around that or replace them with Martian Manhunter. The only cast member I didn't like was Ezra Miller as the Flash. He was too fidgety and awkward and that's not how the Flash should be. I'm a big fan of the Flash TV show, and I think Grant Gustin is a much better Barry Allen. They also repeat a lot of the same beats as the TV show, but since it's a TV show, you get actually a chance to develop the characters, and as opposed to the Flash, who's 1/7 of the main characters in this movie, counting the villain. Ezra Miller did have some great facial reactions and some great interactions with Superman, which were hands down my favorite moments of the movie. If anybody had complaints about the way Henry Cavill played Superman, then this movie should squash all those immediately. He is Superman now. He's smiling, making a few jokes, cheesy one-liners when he's punching the bad guy, but he's still serious when it matters. He is Superman. This was the evolution that Zack Snyder set up, but this arc is kind of forced in the movie. I feel like if Zack Snyder had remained for the whole production, it would have been more natural. I believed Zack Snyder when he said the plan was to get him to, the classic Superman that we know from the comics. Alright, now to talk some trash about this movie, and this is going to hurt me a lot more than it's going to hurt you. This movie was obviously hacked to hell by Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder, or just WB in general. You can watch any of the 4 main trailers and you'll see just deleted shots, altered whole scenes just missing out of the movie. The budget of this movie ballooned to like $300 million because of the whole Zack Snyder, Joss Whedon thing and shifting the script on the fly. So to hopefully make up for the money, which did not work out at all, they crammed down the movie to 2 hours so they could fit more screenings a day. So a lot of scenes in the first act are rushed. Like Flash's recruitment scene, that's all in the trailer. It was actually better paced than the trailer 2 for that matter. The movie is a complete 180 tone-wise from Batman v Superman, and say what you want about Batman v Superman, but tone was not the problem. It's jarring when you get to a scene that feels like a natural continuation from the last movie, and it cuts to Barry Allen being quirky and talking about how much he hates brunch. The Joss Whedon dialogue does not fit with how the characters have been set up, especially when it comes to characters like Batman and Aquaman. It's so painfully obvious what's been reshot, like actors will look worse from shot to shot. Ben Affleck will go from looking like chiseled like how he was in Batman v Superman to going like red and puffy and then Ezra Miller will be wearing like a terrible wig because he's shooting Fantastic Beasts 2 right now. Sometimes they'll be standing in a real location and then you'll cut to the actor in front of a terrible green screen. Honestly, the Henry Cavill upper lip thing didn't bother me that much until my second viewing of the movie, and if you hadn't told me it was there, I probably would have never noticed. I would have just thought like the makeup around his mouth was weird. You can tell when it's a complete Joss Whedon thing when the lighting change and it looks like a scene from The Big Bang Theory, like a cheap sitcom, and it's so overlit and the actors look terrible. They keep cutting to this Russian family through the movie during the invasion, and they're like the human victims we keep seeing in the movie, and we keep seeing how they interact or dealing with the situation. Why? We don't need to see them. This is called the Justice League. Just have them save random civilians like in the first Avengers movie. That's it. You copied the Avengers movie enough. You can't just copy that. One of the biggest offenses of this movie is the firing of Junkie XL and the hiring of Danny Elfman, who hasn't made a good score in 15 years. He disregards all of the amazing work that Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL did in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. The generic, light, orchestral music that Danny Elfman likes to do is such a step down from the grand, bombastic Man of Steel and Batman v Superman scores. He uses his old Michael Keaton Batman theme that does not fit with the Ben Affleck Batman. He reinserts the John Williams Superman theme in a scene that's not even hopeful or inspiring like a scene would be with the John Williams score. So this movie is a mixed bag for me. Definitely more negative than good, but I enjoyed a lot about it. I'd give anything to see what Zack Snyder's vision for this movie would have been. Like, just to see what he had set up from Batman v Superman to this. At least it would have been consistent. What we got, though, I think will satisfy general audiences, I guess. It didn't satisfy me as a Justice League fan. Bye.